today I want to talk about the best investment you can make. And looking at that by looking at Esau's story and how he sold his birthright for a bowl of stew. But before we get into that, I want to read a couple definitions of what an investment is. So it is the action or process of investing money for profit or material result. Another definition is an act of devoting time, effort, or energy to a particular undertaking with the expectation of a worthwhile result. So an investment is sacrificing now, giving up what you have now with the expectation of having more in the future. And let's take a look at Genesis 25, 29, and 34, which tells the story of Esau selling his birthright. Once when Jacob was cooking stew, Esau came in from the field and he was exhausted. And Esau said to Jacob, "Let me eat some of that red stew, for I am exhausted." Jacob said, "Sell me your birthright now." Esau said, "I am about to die. Of what use is a birthright to me?" Jacob said, "Swear to me now." So he swore to him and sold his birthright to Jacob. Then Jacob gave Esau bread and lentil stew, and he ate and drank and rose and went his way. Thus Esau despised his birthright. This story is crazy. I was having Bible study with some friends a couple weeks ago, and we were studying this, and we're like, this dude really sold his inheritance for a bowl of stew. Like, what would make you want to do that? How do you justify doing that? It makes no sense. And we were looking at this and we're like, what? Esau should have laughed Jacob away. When Jacob said, "Sell me your birthright now," he should have been like, "Bro, you crazy. You stupid. I'm not doing that." It just makes no sense. But the thing is, we do that every day. We say, you know what? I want to satisfy my flesh now, which is what Esau did. He was hungry. So he wanted to do whatever it took to satisfy his hunger. And even if that meant selling his birthright for a bowl of stew, he could have waited a couple more hours and probably gotten stew for free without selling his birthright and been okay. The thing is, in a couple hours, Esau is going to be hungry again, and he's going to need more lentil stew. And he doesn't have his birthright to sell any for that. And so now he lost twice, because not only did the lentil stew only bring temporary satisfaction, he's now lost his birthright. And we as believers, when we choose sin over Christ, when we choose to live a life not like God has called us to live a life in the world, we are selling our inheritance for a bowl of stew. Let's say we each get 100 years on this earth. Eternity is billions and billions and billions and billions of years. And so many times instead of laying down this life and saying, "God, you can have this life. You can use me how you want to use me. I give myself away to you. I sacrifice this time." And that's what an investment is. It's sacrificing now for more in the future. It's like, I sacrifice this time to live like you've called me to live. And not even just our inheritance in the future. It's like the life that we have here on earth. It's just so much more fruitful when we live a life in Christ. But the thing is, we want to just satisfy our flesh. We want to make sure that our flesh is satisfied. We want to be happy. So we make decisions that make us happy now, that satisfy us now, that bring temporary satisfaction. And a few hours later, the next day, we'll be hungry again and we'll be thirsting for that again. When we go to Christ, there is full satisfaction. The well never runs dry with God. And when we choose God, we have everything we need. And we sacrifice now and say, "God, I give this life to you. The short time I have here on earth, it is yours. I am not going to sell my inheritance for a bowl of lentil stew." And I love this story because it just shows how crazy it is to do that. But we do that all the time. It's like, how can we do that, right? And we have an example of how to make this sacrifice. Jesus, when he went on that cross, he made the ultimate investment so that all of us could have life with Christ. He went on that cross for us and he died for us so that we can have a life with God. So he made an investment. He sacrificed himself so that we can have an inheritance. And that he showed us how to to die to our flesh. And the thing is, so many times we feel like we have to be whole, we have to be perfect when we come to God, we have to be perfect to live out a life of alignment with God, but we have to come as we are. We can't die to our flesh without Jesus. We can't do it without walking alongside God day in and day out. We have to come to God to roast our flesh. If we look at the disciples, they walked with Jesus. We looked at them when Jesus found them, and after Jesus' death, we look at them like when Peter was writing First Peter and Second Peter. He was not that man that he was at, when he was after walking with God than he was in the beginning. And so you see there's a transformation when we walk with God. We can't do it on our own. We can't do it by ourselves. We need God to become like Jesus, to die to ourselves. Like Galatians 2:20 says, "It is no longer I who lives, but Christ who lives in me. In this life I live in the flesh, I live by faith through Christ." It is by the power of God that we die to our flesh, that we turn away that bowl of lentil soup and we say, God, I choose you. My inheritance is in you. You are where satisfaction is found. You are where fulfillment of life is found. I will not sell my inheritance for a bowl of soup, because God, I choose you more and more, over and above my fleshly desires, over and above the things that will make me happy now and in this immediate movement. I choose you. You are my God. You're my everything. I give my all to you. You are where the true inheritance is. You are where my investment is. And like the last definition says, an act of devoting time, effort, or energy to a particular undertaking with the expectation of a worthwhile result. Walking with God is not easy. This walk with God has been the hardest thing I've ever done, but there is a worthwhile result. It is a sacrifice. It is a dying to your flesh and say, God, this what you've called me to live out, how you've set it out in your word, it is not easy, but I choose you. I will not sell my inheritance for a bowl of lentil stew. That is crazy. I choose you. I choose you. I will walk this out with you. I will make the sacrifices. I might have to let go of some friends, but I choose you above that. I might have to stop doing some things, but I choose you above that. I might have to stop going to a few places, but I choose you above that. You are worthy of it all. It is a no-brainer. I choose you again and again and again, because in you there is full satisfaction. In you is real life. You are my God. There's no one else I want but you. You are everything. So let's make the best investment that there is to offer. Let's make the investment that gives us a worthwhile result, an investment that keeps on giving, choosing Christ over everything this world has to offer, because everything this world has to offer is like a bowl of lentil stew compared to a life with Christ.